Thank you all for coming out here today. I'm here representing the 200,000 Californians who are members of Sierra Club California. We take seriously and with great urgency the need to reduce both smog-forming pollution, criteria pollutants, and greenhouse gases. You just heard Mr. O'Connell of Tesla Motors urge CARB to find a way tomorrow to not decrease the numbers of zero-emission vehicles required in 2012 to 2014, but double or perhaps triple them. Sierra Club California is on record for even more than that. We want to see 100,000 zero-emission vehicles required in 2012 to 2014. Here, 6,000. That's nothing. That's not going to break anybody's bank. It's not going to put anybody out of business. The car industry itself sells more than 70 million cars per year worldwide. These are petty numbers. We must move in this direction. The Union of Concerned Scientists will testify tomorrow that in order to meet our state's goals for greenhouse gas reductions by 2050, we need to have nearly 400,000 zero-emission vehicles on the road by 2020. So if CARB waters down the mandate to require just 2,500 by 2014, there's no way we're going to do this. Even if they stick with the current regulations of 25,000 zero-emission vehicles by 2012 to 2014, we will not reach our goals. We cannot do this without cleaning up transportation. Our vehicles produce 1/3 of the greenhouse gases from our state. We've got to get moving. Time is urgent. This is not time for weak action. This is time for bold and strong action, requiring the car companies to do what we know they're capable of doing. And I know this because I have been driving an electric car for 6 years. I have not bought gasoline for 63,000 miles. That was a product of the zero-emission vehicle program until it was watered down in 2003. Now they're talking about watering it down some more. They're doing a disservice to the state, to the country, and to the planet. We need to keep our voices high and demand what we know can be done and what must be done to help protect the planet for our children and grandchildren. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Sherry. We so rarely, and folks like us so rarely, get to have the last word in any conversation that involves oil companies or automakers, so I thought I would take it here. Yeah, I learned something new, I have to say. I've been doing this for 15 years. I used to work for General Motors. I helped put the EV1 on the road, and yet when I read the staff proposal, I learned something new. It said in the 18-year history of this program, the program has not resulted in the commercialization of any zero-emission vehicles. I'm pretty sure that the owners of the cars behind me would argue with that. We have a number of EV drivers here today, some of whom also use solar panels to recharge their cars. They would love to talk to y'all afterwards. But even if that were true, I'm not sure that it's something to be shouting from the rooftops. And, it's pathetic that in 18 years, there are currently no zero-emission vehicles available in showrooms. It's great that there once were, and that was at a time when the law and the leaders behind it were indeed bold and did all of this courageous action that the other speakers have talked about. And yet, we're letting it go at this point. A lot of people have asked, what does this matter? If consumers are demanding plug-in cars and automakers are going to make them anyway, and so many different automakers have announced either pure electric cars or plug-in hybrids, what does it really matter what CARB does? Reasons. Number one, if CARB does not vote strongly on the 27th, that if it accepts the proposal that has been handed to it on Thursday the 27th, it will cease to be relevant in this conversation on the 28th. Period. There is absolutely no chance that an automaker will continue to take seriously a body that won't ask for more than 150 cars per year per automaker. For CARB as an agency, but even more so for consumers. We know for sure that people want the choice to drive vehicles that don't run on gasoline, and yet they do not currently have that choice. We know the automakers will make these cars eventually because the market demands it. CARB can help make sure that they get on the road sooner or later so that the market can take over and choose what's successful. CARB prerequisite results, not technological winners. It needs to be offering a variety of vehicles for consumers to choose from, and it can't wait and bow down to automakers before they do it. Now, we heard a lot about bold action today. Absolutely, that's required. You know, we have had bold leaders here, and unfortunately, more than CARB is asking for. And they're doing it because consumers are asking for it. And I'm looking at the grassroots center. I love that. I love that sort of the Davids of this equation are leading. But it really doesn't speak well about our leaders when the industry that's being regulated is out in front of the policymakers. So this is an equation that has become very backwards in the last few years and has to be turned around. And so yes, it requires bold action, but it also requires courage. And you know, Aristotle said that courage is knowing what to be afraid of and in what measure. And I think that CARB has to re-examine exactly what they're fearful of and stop being fearful of automakers being upset with them and become fearful of the problems truly facing society today, of not leaving a great legacy to our children, and of not empowering consumers in the marketplace to really drive this. So again, we hope they do the right thing on Thursday. If, you know, frankly, I'm not sure they should vote on the proposal at all, but to the extent that they do, they need to require tens of thousands of plug-in cars and hundreds of thousands of plug-in hybrids. We know it will take hundreds of thousands of pure zero-emission vehicles to meet the governor's greenhouse gas reduction goals. Certainly a couple hundred per automaker per year isn't going to cut it. And until we have the choice to drive something better, CARB will continue to block the progress that consumers are demanding. Thank you all for coming.